Ms. McCarthy, I want to start my questions with an issue that Alaskans have really been buzzing about, and this is the issue of the Pebble Mine. When you were up in Alaska, you had an opportunity to go out to the region. You spoke with people. I have reserved judgment on the potential Pebble Mine, waiting for the project developers to present an official plan and then seek the permits for it. EPA has decided not to wait and has instead initiated this process that could very well lead to the first ever preemptive veto under 404C of the Clean Water Act. So my questions to you this morning are in a certain part related to timing here. Do the folks at EPA believe that they know exactly how the Pebble Mine would be developed?
I think that we're well aware of SEC filings that indicate how the Pebble Mine intends to develop.
But we haven't seen any permits. We haven't seen any application. We haven't seen the definition of that plan. So isn't it accurate, though, that EPA would still be able to veto the project once details and specifics are actually permitted? You don't lose that ability to veto later.
That's correct. And
so I guess my question has always been, why not wait until we know what the specifics and what the criteria are before you move to effectively veto? And again, a preemptive veto this would be first ever.
Senator, without getting into the history of the use of 404C, I want to assure you that what we have done here is to take a first step in this conversation. We have not made any decision.
Understood.
And so one of the I think good things about the 404C process that we've just taken a first step on is our first step is to talk to the company. It is to talk to the Army Corps, and it's to talk to the state to understand if the concerns, the scientific concerns we've identified about this unique place, as we all know, its beauty as well as its importance in terms of the world's largest sockeye salmon fishery, and the extent of the mine, given how deep the ore is and how low grade it is, and what kind of large transition that area would go through, is how do we make sure that we're going to protect it? We do have an option to wait. But we were petitioned, and we felt that given the science, it was really worthy of a unique response, which is to try to get at these issues more quickly, given the uncertainty it's raised for the tribes, for the regions, for the economy in that area, and that it was worth at least exploring and going through the public process associated with it.
Well, and I appreciate you outlining that, but I guess I would ask you to put on a different hat rather than as head of the EPA. Look at it from the investor's perspective. You are, as an investor, you're now asked to consider the fact that EPA may choose to veto a project either before, during, or after, maybe even years after it seeks and receives permits. Why? Why would anybody choose to put the money out? You mentioned the uncertainty to the tribes, but you've got a situation where you are effectively stopping any potential for development before the idea can really get off the ground, if you have this notion that you could preemptively veto it before permits come in, during such time as you're constructing, or even afterwards. So how are we promoting certainty here?
Well, I think that the Pebble Mine and its investors are well aware of what the authority EPA has here. I think the most important thing we wanted to do was that after you complete a scientific assessment and it shows the potential impacts from a mine of this magnitude in that special area.
But again, a definition that we haven't seen yet because no permits have been filed, no application pending, you can see the concern from the investor's side, I hope, as well as from the folks on the ground, how we balance this. But
Yes.
if we have a process that doesn't allow
Right.
for certainty along the way, it's pretty difficult to entice anybody to come in and put the dollars up front that would allow for a project, allow for economic development within the region, and allow for jobs and opportunities.
Well, Senator, I don't think that our intent is to create more uncertainty. Our intent is to actually have the conversations we need. If the company is ready for the permit application, they're still free to submit that, and we'd encourage that. But right now, you have a science document that we think deserves to be looked at and to be discussed with the company. And we also want to make clear that this is a very unique circumstance, both what we believe to be such an extraordinarily large mine in such a unique area, that this is not a change in EPA's operating procedure. It's an opportunity, I hope, to have the conversations that will provide the certainty that the company is looking for and the investors are looking for
So
as well.
you're not planning on exercising a preemptive veto then?
I have no idea of what the end point of this discussion is, because it's a process that begins with a conversation. If that conversation indicates that concerns remain, it can then go to a public process, and then so it's an extensive public dialogue. And I think that that's what is deserved at this point.
Well, I think you are aware that just at the beginning of this week, one of the investors, one of the principals, has chosen to convey their interests in the mine to not only Bristol Bay Economic Development Corporation, but to a community foundation. And part of the reason for this was a recognition that there is so much uncertainty that their ability to whether it's find additional resources or to really continue in the project have been compromised. And so whether this is intended or unintended, and many in Alaska believe that it's intended by the EPA, that this very, very strong signal that the agency could come in at any point before, during, or after and pull those permits, it would be a pretty speculative investment on anyone's behalf to continue on. Mr. Chairman, my time has expired. I'll have an opportunity for others when we resume second round.